Um, for me, this gentleman, I just really want to highlight this magic man because when we were in Fiji,
Fiji.
yeah,
Um,
uh, we ended up staying a couple
for
extra
me,
days,
this gentleman, I just
and
really want to highlight this
oh,
magic
sorry,
man because
I,
I get an
replay's going.
echo.
So
Oh,
we spent a couple extra days there, and the experience that Sjoerd had really put through was for me very profound. In fact, I've done a lot of different breath works and I've done a lot of different experiences in life, uh, in multiple different dangerous dynamics. And the experience for me was just really meaningful. And I was able to see things and recognize them really fast. And it's also funny because me and Ronald ended up doing it together, and he's now on his way flying over here to Canada. So I think, brother, I'm very grateful that you took the time, first of all. I think it's really amazing to, especially I know that there's not 100 people here yet,
Oh,
but there's a replay and we're always gonna grow. And I'm excited that you're willing to take us through this beautiful process. Do you want to share anything? But before we do, Gwen, do you want to say hello? Hello, Gwen. Welcome. No
hi, hello, hi. Oh, I was searching for the mute button. So
worries.
no, you don't need to be
yeah.
muted.
Okay.
Not in this
Okay.
time.
Thank you so much. Okay, but I'll be there in a moment. I'll be there in 2, 3 minutes. Okay.
No
Okay,
problem. Welcome.
Yes.
But
welcome.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
Stuart, do you want to take us through kind of a little bit of you and your background and your magic? And
Yeah, I would love to.
I think a lot of people are gonna really benefit from you and your wisdom.
Hmm. So yeah, my name is Sjoerd. SJ is easier way. Originally from the Netherlands and living in Sydney in Australia. I I grew up in a really small country town in the Netherlands. I might just
Which
close
one?
the window for a sec because the
No
trucks
worries.
are driving past. Oh. Living in the beautiful Manly area of Sydney. It's really quiet. Things happen. Um, yeah, so grew up in a really small country town in the Netherlands, Winsen. Eric knows about that.
Where did you grow
and
up? Where did
in
you grow up?
in the Netherlands.
Yeah, but I'm also from the Netherlands. Did you say
Ah, cool.
Winsen?
Winsen, yeah, close to Nijmegen. Close to
I
Nijmegen.
grew up in Beuningen.
No ways, that's the same municipality. Wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy. That's like 5 kilometers from each other. Wow.
So
Uh, that's no
amazing.
coincidence. Eric, you drove through it on the way to the train station.
Well, I got to spend time with you in your hometown, so I'm sure we got to go to Elenita's hometown as well.
Yeah, we did. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I grew up in a really small village, about 2,000 people, and me and my parents. And when I was almost 4 years old, um, my parents and of course myself, we were expecting a little brother called Luke, and there was a cartoon at the time, so I always called him Lucky Luke. And unfortunately, Luke wasn't so lucky. He only lived for 8 days because yeah, something happened just before my mom was giving birth, and he wasn't able to breathe. Now that was a major impact, of course, as a child for me, and also the years later on, my parents grew apart, and it ended up in a divorce when I was 9 years old. Now, a few years later, when I got into my puberty, I was very insecure. I was very late with puberty, so I wasn't developing into a man. Well, all my friends, they actually were developing into a man. So that made me very insecure, especially when you play football. in a football team, and then you shower together, and then you have fun together, and that's how it goes in the Netherlands. Different countries, different things. So I had a lot of self-doubt, lack of confidence. And then there was this substance called alcohol that was legal in the Netherlands when you were 16 at the time. Now, thank God, they increased it to 18. So I used that substance to feel more confident and also to forget about things that I didn't want to think about. And traumas that you go through as a human being. Everyone goes through ups and downs in life. Now, I went to hotel school, and there that's a great education, and it really matched who I am, who I was at the time, because I always wanted to take care of everyone else. And with hospitality, it's a great thing to do because you can make everyone happy, you can look after people and give them a great time, which is something I've always been doing since I was a child, looking after my mum after my brother passed away when I got home from school, and also after my parents divorced. So yeah, that really fit my personality. Now, the other side of that was that in that industry, there's a lot of alcohol involved, and I used that substance to numb myself. Now, after traveling, living in South Africa, moving to Australia, I discovered that there was something in me that wanted more, and I could do more. And I was also realizing that I was using a lot of alcohol to basically numb myself, and it would actually get me to a really happy place. In 2020, I was introduced to Tony Robbins, and after doing the first UPW online, I was able to actually set a challenge for myself, and that was from September till the new year. I think we lost Linda. You're muted, Eric.
Okay, it's okay. She'll be back.
Yeah, she'll be back. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
So I set myself a really cool challenge that was from September till the new year, not drink any alcohol, and that was an amazing experience for me. And in that same year, I also discovered breath work. I did a Wim Hof fundamentals course, and that UPW, Wim Hof was actually in Tony's UPW as well, which made me more curious about this crazy Dutchman, the Iceman. So I did a course, and it was really profound, and I didn't do much with it. And the years it went past by, and COVID hit, and after COVID, and I was like in this time of my life, I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep hospitality or something else? And I decided to I was Googling a breathwork instructor because I was like, that was so profound. It was so good what I do. Maybe I can do something with that. And then I found this company in Sydney where they would do instructor courses. And it turned out that this guy was also Dutch, and he actually worked with Wim for 4 or 5 years when Wim wasn't as well known in the world. And he did retreats and everything. So I went to this experience, which was called the breath and ice experience, or cold water immersion. And I was like, I'm going to give it my all. And I went really, really deep. And I'll explain a little bit more after about what breathwork can do, and especially breakthrough breathwork. I went really deep, and you go with your brain. It's better to explain it now so you better understand. With your brain, it can switch off that big computer on top, your prefrontal cortex. So you can actually go back into memories in the brainstem and small brains, and the reptilian brain, and it can bring up stored shit, I call it, traumas, things no longer serve you anymore, and you're able to release that in such an experience. And I was actually able to release some stuff that no longer served me. And one of the things that I also experienced was that I felt a connection with my brother that passed away, and I felt that he was there, and that made me think and realize, wow, this is so powerful. This is such a gift. What if I instead of serving people food and beverages, alcohol, I'm going to serve people the power of the breath. And it's something that my brother was never able to do. And I can serve the world in this way. So, yeah, after that, I took on instructor course, master instructor course, and now I'm teaching breathwork. I still work a little bit in hospitality since it's not my full-time job yet. And then, yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And every time when I give this gift to people, oh, I get goosebumps and thinking about it, what it does and can do for people. It's just amazing. And a lot of people are not aware of how powerful your breath is. And yeah, we get into this world with the first breath and we leave with the last one, and all the breaths in between. There's so much you can do with it, and you can regulate yourself. A good example is when someone gets, for example, in a car accident, and people start hyperventilating. The first thing that people will do that come to the scene is to try to lower the breath, and when everything lowers, everything gets better. And that's actually a thing that I would love to talk about today as well, is how can we regulate ourselves with using the breath, and especially the slow breathing. We all want the fireworks and the magic, which can really come when you do breakthrough breath work, and I'll be happy to explain a little bit more about that as well, so people might get interested and inspired by that to experience that for themselves, like we did in Fiji with Eric and Ronald. So yeah, I think what would be really great is to explain a little bit about breathwork, and that was a bit about my story. I also don't drink any alcohol anymore. I still serve it sometimes. Yeah, and it's been amazing. Like the 1st of January, it will be 2 years, and yeah, I don't look back. It's so great to experience that, and no longer have the thoughts that, oh, I need to do that because then I'm part of a group, or then I feel accepted, or I feel confident. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
So
I don't know if
beautiful.
anyone has any questions so far. I'm happy to answer questions as well. I'm also happy to continue. If you got any questions, just let me know. That would be great.
Gwen, do you have any questions? Alanita?
No, no. I'm going to experience it, right?
Yeah. So when you think about breath work or breath play, I sometimes like to call it breath play because playing is nicer than working. I like to play games, and you can also play at the highest level, like athletes, and they play at the highest level. So when you do breath work, breath play, there's such a big, wide spectrum, and a lot of people put their stamp on it. Oh, like this is the Wim Hof method, or this is Buteyko breathing. This is, in the end, it all comes down to the same the same principles that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. And hi Gwen, I can see you now, great. And in the spectrum of breath work, you can breath play. You'll have the very slow breathing on the one side and the very fast breathing on the other side. I'm actually curious, do you have an idea how many breaths a minute do you think we take? Like one breath is one in and out. How many breaths do you think a human being, average adult, would breathe a minute? You got any idea, Anita, Eric, Gwen? Just call out a number.
I'm gonna
Let
say
me guess,
70.
maybe 30?
30,
30
okay.
times?
Yeah, I also thought
30
like 30 or something.
Eric?
70.
Okay. Average is about 18 to 20 breaths a minute. And actually, so when you look at that spectrum, you want to actually sit between 6 and 12 breaths a minute.
Okay.
It's actually really funny that the company where I did my instructor's certification with is called Breathless or Breathe Less, because that is actually the way forward. What we should do, what we must do, not should, we must do. When you breathe less, actually everything is, you're calming everything down. When you breathe really fast, everything gets fast, and it can also stimulate into like this vicious circle of when people have anxiety, for example, they tend to breathe way faster. And then when you breathe faster, your anxiety gets higher, and it's just a spiral effect. And that's why breath work, breath play can be a really powerful tool to actually calm yourself down. And so you got on the one side, you got, let's say, 1 to 6 breaths, which is like really restoring and retraining. And then you got 6 to 12 breaths, which should be the normal. And then you got like 12 to 25 breaths a minute, which is like performance when you go for a run or a jog or cycling, or making love to your partner, who knows. And then you got the 25 to 75 breaths a minute, which is also known as like fast breathing fire breath or breakthrough breath work, where we actually stimulate and increase the frequency. That is something you can do online. We'll take a bit, we'll have to do a bit more time for that, and also do that online. If you want to know more about it, you can definitely do that. And that is, I would also recommend to do that in person with a breathwork instructor, which is can be a magnificent experience where the body is actually able to release things. And I always set an intention before we start doing that practice. And you can also invite things into your life. One of the reasons, and what I was taught, is that, I don't know if anyone heard of a psychiatrist called Bessel van der Kolk. And he wrote a book, The Body Keeps the Score. And so we store a lot in our body, and not even in our own life, even in past lives, generations before us. So scientists did this research where they took mice and they put it in a little room, and they sprayed in a fragrance of rose petals. And when they sprayed in that fragrance, they would give the mice a little like shock, a bit cruel. And what they did, of course, the mice got really frightened the time after when they would spray in the rose petal fragrance, because they thought they connect that with the electrical shock. Now, they took those mice and they got offspring of the mice. And what they discovered was they put the baby mice into a little room and sprayed in the fragrance. And those mice got scared as well. There was not even a shock. They never experienced a shock. They never gave it a shock. It was stored in their DNA. And they bred those mice again and again and again. And they had the same effect with the mice up to 7 generations. So, that was really eye-opening, and like, wow, the body does keep the score, and we store things, traumas from our past and from even previous lives. And breakthrough breath work is a really powerful tool where people are able to let go of things, able to let go of their own, let's call it shit. It is shit that happened to them in their lives, or maybe even from past generations, which I experienced myself. So I would highly recommend to do that. And you can invite beautiful things into your life as well. And it's not always that. Your body actually knows when you do it what it needs at that moment. And it can be that you have profound experience where you might get a massive cramp, or maybe you want to cry something, or maybe you want to scream something out that you thought you already dealt with and the body still has it in it. Or you might have an experience where you feel completely joy and you're laughing. That is something really powerful that can happen as well. So there's multiple things that can happen. Hi, Alicia. Welcome. That can happen as well. What I would actually like to go through today is a few tips and exercises of things that we can do daily and that can actually help you daily. One of the things, it's called coherence breathing, and that is a really powerful tool that you can use for when you feel stressed or when anxiety kicks in and you actually want to calm yourself down and you want to feel more grounded. So they've done research, and it's also known as coherence breathing or 3-6-5 breathing. And by doing this for 5 minutes, it will lower your cortisol level, your stress hormone, by 25%. So if you're feeling really stressed, or in previous job, I was also doing sales and account management, and if I had to call a client or a prospect and I was pretty nervous for that, I would do a few minutes of this breathing, and then I would take the call, and I would be way more relaxed to take the call. So there's multiple ways how you can use these tools and take it out of your toolbox. With that said, the cortisol level gets lowered by the 3-6-5 breathing. Why do we call it 3-6-5? Well, you do it three times a day, 6 breaths a minute for 5 minutes. So you breathe in for 5 seconds, and then you breathe out for 5 seconds. And what is really important, what a lot of people actually are not aware of, or they don't know, or they don't do it automatically, is how do we actually breathe, and how do we breathe those 6 breaths a minute. Does anyone know if you are a nose or a mouth breather?
Yeah.
I'm definitely a nose breather.
Nose breather, yeah. And Anita?
Nose.
No.
Mouth. Oh, nose or mouth, Anita?
Nose.
Nose, perfect. So that's great to hear, because our human bodies are designed to breathe through our nose, and there's multiple reasons for that. We all have nose hair, and they are actually beautiful filters to filter out bigger particles that are in the air or dust. And then we also got the slime in the nose, which will stop smaller particles or bacteria and viruses to get into our system. And the nose will also warm or cool down the air, so the air has the right temperature to go into your lungs and do its magic, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So when we breathe through our nose, we don't have that. And where I grew up in the Netherlands, and in winter when it's cold, and I would go for a run, and when I was a teenager and I wasn't developed yet, and I really couldn't breathe. I couldn't get enough air. So I was starting to mouth breathe when I was running. And especially when it's cold and you breathe through your mouth, you get a very sore throat. And then my football coach, my soccer coach actually said, well, you should breathe in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth if you can't just do everything. At the time, I was like 14, 15. I didn't understand. It's like, yeah, but I can't do it. I can't breathe enough. I don't get enough air. Now I understand, okay, why? Because it will heat up the air when it's cold, and of course cool it down when it's too hot. Another thing is, does any of you have a partner that snores? or you snore yourself at night that you're aware of?
I think I snore. I think I snore a little, just a bit though. Like this is.
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. So there is a
Only when
way.
I'm really tired.
There is actually there is a way that that can help by reducing your snoring and also to make sure that you breathe through your nose while you sleep, because a lot of people breathe through their nose when they're awake, and then when they go to sleep, they actually start mouth breathing. And
Mm.
it's not sexy, I can tell you that. It's just mouth tape. You get some mouth tape and you tape your mouth. And I wouldn't recommend duct tape. That's not nice when you have to take it off, especially when you have a beard like Eric. But yeah, you can buy it online. Sometimes they're in a cross form or like in a lip shape. What I do, I just buy micropore, which is a sensitive skin tape from 3M. So I just take a little piece off and I just tear it off and I just put it on my mouth. Or you can also put it this way. So you have a little bit more on the side. That really helps. And if you have a smartwatch or an Aura Ring, Fitbit, that can also then measure your sleep, your deep sleep, your REM sleep, and just try it out for a couple of nights. And first measure it before you do the tape, and then after the tape, and see what the changes are in your deep sleep and your REM sleep. I had some amazing feedback from clients that did it, and also friends and family that didn't believe me and they were skeptical. I said, just give it a try. Yeah, Gwen?
Well, maybe I missed this point, but it's okay to breathe in and out of your mouth. Is that okay, or is that not okay?
It is okay, preferably only through your nose. Reason for that is when you breathe out through your mouth, you actually lose 42% more hydration. So you have to drink a lot more water during the day
Mm-hmm.
to keep that level up. Science has done all the research about that as well, that it's 42% more reduction of hydration that you breathe out through your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So the best way is to breathe in and out through your nose. And there are also ways if you say, oh, but I always got a blocked nose and this and that. So there are also techniques to help with that. And if you want to know more about it, I can do that another time. So where were we? Oh yeah, the mouth breathing versus nose breathing. And there is a journalist, I would call him. He wrote a book called Breathe: The New Science of a Lost Art, which is this book here. It's by James Nestor. And there's a whole chapter about it, about why we must breathe through our nose and not through our mouth. And I won't give everything away. Yeah, Gwen?
Okay, show the book again so I can make it print.
Yeah. It's Breathe by James Nestor.
Thank you.
And what he did with another scientist is from Sweden, and they actually blocked their nose for a week. They put all kind of stuff in their nose and taped it, and just to see what it would do to their bodies. I'll give you one thing: they got really sick, and then they will describe what happened and how and why, and the importance of nose breathing. So yeah, I would highly recommend this book. It's really easy to read. Just take that up if you want to know a bit more about why breathing is so important, and also be aware of doing it. And we can actually retrain it as well. I've got a client now that I was referred by a friend, and he had really difficulties of breathing, and he was always yawning. And I took him to this beautiful process of retraining his breath, and I had a call with him last night, and I asked him, "So how are you feeling now after 4 weeks?" He's like, "I can't believe this, and that this is all possible. I'm not yawning anymore, and I'm breathing so much easier." And so yeah, a lot of people, they don't know. And when I told my father that I was gonna go this path, he said, "Breathing. I've been breathing all my life. What do you need a breathwork coach for?" And he's the biggest snorer I know. Yeah, you can bring the horse to the water, and you can't force it to drink it. Maybe one day, in the future. Put the thought out there. Coming back to the 3-6-5 breathing. I would actually love to do that with you guys now, and so you can experience this breathing. Before we do it, there's one other really important thing especially when you breathe, when you're in rest, I would say, and that is that we breathe from our belly. A lot of people are chest breathers. Hi, Gabriel, welcome. And a lot of people are chest breathers, and it's super important that we breathe from our belly. So we have our diaphragm, which is it's a muscle under our rib cage, so under your ribs, you can feel that there's a muscle, and the diaphragm is actually the muscle that pushes down, and then it will able to fill up your lower lungs with the air. And a lot of people breathe from their chest, and that's why also the frequency of breathing goes up, because you cannot fill your lungs as much as when you breathe through your belly, where the bigger parts of your lungs are on the bottom. So, yeah, Gwen?
Yes, do you have like technique to breathe more, down to your spine?
You mean through your belly?
Yeah, you can through your belly, but you can also go deeper, to the bottom of your spine. Is that okay or no?
Yeah,
to
go deep breathing more through your belly. I wouldn't say spine, I would more say your belly. And when you take a really deep breath in, you can first fill up your belly, and then you can fill up your chest, so you can actually take the maximum of volume that you can breathe in. So what is actually a really good exercise to do is to actually place one of your hands on your chest and one on your belly. And then when you're just sitting up straight and you're just slowly breathing in, just notice where does your breath go? What moves? Is it your upper hand on your chest, or is it the hand on your belly? And you're just breathing in slowly. Anyone want to share what they noticed?
My stomach first goes out, and then as I go more, my chest comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And is that when you feel it filling your whole lungs, or is it your chest goes up anyway?
No, so it's my stomach comes out first,
Yeah.
and then as it starts to go back in, my chest starts to come up.
Okay. Is that still with your breathing in, not when you breathe out?
Yeah, only when I'm breathing in.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anyone else would like to share?
Yeah, sure. It goes quite well for with the first breaths, but after a while, I'm shifting back to to breathing more on the surface level, more on the chest area.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So it's kind of hard, to keep on breathing through the belly. So yeah. So
yeah, it can definitely can be a challenge for people, and that's why it's also so great that there are ways how you can actually train it and how you can shift it, because yeah, we've been breathing our whole lives and we're not aware of how do we breathe because we don't think about it. It happens all the time and naturally. And then there are ways how you can retrain it. But with so that in the future that you actually automatically in rest would breathe through your belly all the time. What I would like you to do is to sit up straight, and I'm gonna put up some music, and then I will
Doesn't
also.
matter.
Sorry.
Yeah, doesn't matter if you sit in a chair or it's better to sit on the floor when you're doing
No,
breath
you
work.
can anyway in a chair. You can lie down. For this coherence breathing, you can even do it standing. I wouldn't do it. It's not as relaxed. I would just sit down or lie down. Sit down is fine. Make sure that you sit up straight, and then yeah, we're gonna do this for a couple of minutes, and just notice how you feel now, and then also notice how you feel afterwards, to do a couple of minutes of breathing with me. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you breathe in, you'll feel that your belly, your hand is coming to the front, and you just do it slowly. And when you do it, just pace that you, in those 5 seconds, that you can actually take a whole breath in. And then in those 5 seconds, you can also take a whole exhale as well. And the exhale can be just natural. You don't have to push it out, just let it naturally exhale. So it will look like this. And you can let the air slowly go out through your nose. If you got a blocked nose at the moment, then just do it through your mouth. That's completely fine. So is everyone up for doing a couple of minutes of this breathing?
Do it.
Yeah. Might give a second for Gwen to come back. Oh, she can also join in when there she is. Amazing. So I'll just put up a bit of music. Can you hear the music? Yeah. So let's sit up straight and let's breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2. Keep breathing in and out. Feel the relaxation body. Focus on your breath. Whenever you're ready, slowly open your eyes and just notice for a moment how you feel. Welcome back, everyone. How do you feel now? Anyone would like to share?
More grounded,
Mm-hmm.
more calm and relaxed. Less in my head and more in my body. What else? Yeah, more calm.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I also noticed that, and when I went back to my normal breathing, I noticed that it was deeper.
Yeah.
Than it was before.
Great. That's amazing. Great to hear. How about you, Eric?
Peaceful.
Peaceful, huh? Yeah. That's why one of the reasons this is a perfect exercise when you feel stressed or when you feel some anxiety coming up. Just take 5 minutes for yourself to take the time and be only with your breath and focus on your breath. And you can focus on the counting as well when your mind starts to go off in different directions. The counting really helps. And yeah, as science has proven, it lowers the cortisol level by 25%. So we highly recommend to do this 3 times a day because the effects actually last for 4 to 5 hours. So if you do this, let's say after you just woke up, you already set yourself up for the day by feeling, I'll use Gwen's word, grounded and peaceful and relaxed. And it will last for a couple hours. And then around, depending on what time you wake up, let's say people wake up between 7 and 8 a.m., then 12 p.m., 1 p.m., you do it again during your lunch break. You just take 5 minutes off your lunch break to do this before you go back to work. And then you do it again 5, 6 p.m. Because then it will last again till bedtime, maybe 9, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., depending what time you go to bed. So that's why we call it 3-6-5. So 3 times a day, 6 breaths a minute for 5 minutes. 3-6-5 breathing. Yeah. I hope that this tool can serve you in the future. And, yeah, I think that to be more conscious about how we breathe and why. Yeah, Gwen?
okay. Can you also train yourself this type of breath to become your regular breath? To breathe every 5 seconds in and out. Is that possible, or do you recommend that? What can you tell me about?
Well, it would be great if we could. We're just not living in a world where we can breathe that all the time because we go through the day, we go through different phases, and we'll need to breathe faster sometimes. But when you go up the stairs, you will need to breathe faster. There is a way how you can retrain your breath and set a baseline score. I'm happy to talk about that. We can have a chat about that one-on-one if you want to know more about what kind of breathing with training we can do, or other things we can do. There are definitely ways. For example, you're saying, what can we do to retrain for running? One thing that you can already start doing is, for example, when you go for a walk, you know, if you got a dog or you just go out for a walk, try to focus to just breathe on your nose. And even if you do like a more fast-paced walking, to breathe through your nose. For example, when I go for a run, I always nose breathe when I go for a run. And I might not run that fast, but the endurance that you build up when you breathe through your nose, it's amazing. There are actually Olympic athletes that are now getting trained by breathwork coaches to breathe through the nose. So in Australia, for example, one of my breathwork teachers, she teaches Olympic athletes, and there's a 400-meter sprint lady, and she sprints the first 300 meters by only nose breathing. And then the last 100 meters, she starts mouth breathing. It's like when you have a race car and you put that nitrogen, the extra turbo boost on the last 100 meters, you get that extra power. Because if you can already perform on such a high level by nose breathing, and then you got that extra that you can give at the end, which your competitors don't have, because a lot of people don't know about it yet. Yeah, that's an amazing effect. So yeah, I would say focus on breathing through your nose all the time, and when you catch yourself through the mouth, then you can change that. And then when you do this enough, your body will then start shifting that automatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the explanation.
You're
It's
welcome.
very interesting. Very
You're welcome.
interesting.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend to read the book by James Nestor, Breathe, sorry. And yeah, if you got any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, Eric.
Based off of my experience of freediving and using breath with freediving and really spending time breaking past the contractions, so that really learning to regulate and activate a really more peaceful state in the outside of the water, not just in the water, but outside of the water. So this has taught me, these breath holds, be recognize and be able to reduce my breaths per minute, let's call it, in my everyday, to be able to like really focus my attention at energy that's coming at me in really slow motion. So is this something that leads to that? How would you suggest people that maybe are curious about breath holds? Is that something that helps highlights for breathing? Does it make your breathing better? Any suggestions? This has been my experience, but I'm just thinking perspective, what your thoughts are here.
Yeah, that's a great question and great share. There is one of the things that I do, for example, that I did with the client that I was having my conversation with last night. And one of the things is setting the baseline score, which is where you actually retrain your baseline. And your baseline is when it's too much to go into depth now. We can do it another time. Or I do that with my clients, where you actually do breath holds, and you do that 3 times a day or 2 times. You measure your heart rate, and then you do a couple of minutes of coherence breathing, and then on your breath out, you actually hold your breath for as long as you can, and then you do a few more minutes, 3 minutes again of the coherence breathing, and you do another breath hold. And the more often you do this, you will notice that your breath holds are getting longer as well, because you build up that muscle to be able to hold your breath longer, and that will also then calm down yourself and also help with breathing less. Yeah. So yeah, freediving is a really good it's a really good sport to do. Or even if you don't freedive, you don't want to be under the water, just do it above the water. Yeah, there's
If people want to, sorry, Stuart, go ahead.
Yeah.
My apologies. If people want to find out more, can they reach out to you? Can
yeah,
you connect?
definitely.
What's
We could
the
do
best
like
way to yeah.
just send me a personal message in WhatsApp, and we can do like a 15-minute consultation call to just see like where you're at, what do you want to do, what do you want to get out of it. That would be amazing. So we can see, yeah, what would be suitable for you. I always say one size fits none. So everyone is different. So there's different things that where people are in their lives, and that's the beautiful thing about breath work and breath play as well, is that everyone is at a certain path, and we can slide that in at any time, any moment. Yeah.
Now that I know, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So you're talking about holding your breath. So we just did the exercise, do the 5 seconds in and out. But is it also an option to breathe in, hold for 5 seconds and breathe out? Is that also something you can?
Yeah, you can do that as well. You can breathe in for 5, hold it for 5, then breathe out for 5, and you can hold it again for 5. That's actually a different technique, which is box breathing, which I can that you can look up as well. Yeah, you can actually hold your breath as well in that. It is good question, but you can definitely do that.
Brother, now that I know that you're in Manly, I'm going to connect you with some people that I know there. Really good crowd of swimmers, like older generation, but good people. I stayed there on Manly, and a friend of mine has a retreat center not too far, maybe 3-hour drive, 4-hour drive out of Sydney. So she just had a really beautiful event there at her place this last weekend. So I'll connect you and Natalie in the group. Cool?
That would be amazing. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Go, gotta shine, bro.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up for yourself and being here.
Thank you, brother. You're a legend in the light, and we're very grateful for your wisdom. It's very meaningful for you to show up and keep bringing this wisdom, because so many people need it. I know it's so meaningful for me, and recognizing this in you is it's amazing to see you shine. Like, you really, really own it, man. So
thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Have an amazing day. Merry Christmas. Happy festive season.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Big love, ladies. Do you guys have any questions? Do you ladies have any other questions for sure
Alicia,
before we go?
No, not for now, but maybe I'll text you. I'll send you a message.
Yeah. Love to hear from you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, again.
Thank
Big
you.
hug. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you, Sjoerd. Love you, ladies. Big hugs.